I guarantee you this first movie we're going to talk about is going to be available streaming.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into this. The first movie we watched was the most bonkers movie, and the first thing I said to Todd when we left was, this is what film festivals are made for, is movies like this. It is a very Seattle movie. It is a very almost sideways movie, which is why we watched it. It is called... Oh, go back up. I need the title. You scrolled away.
I was just seeing where it was shot. It was shot in Spokane.
It was shot in Spokane. I was wondering where they found snow. Anyways, the movie is called Tim Travers and the Time Traveler's Paradox. It is written and directed by Stimson Sneed and stars all the where is the guy there? Samuel Dunning.
Him and the director were in attendance.
They were in attendance. They did a little Q&A. We got to stay for a little bit of it, but we had to go to our next movie. But the main draws for us were bit parts from Joel McHale, Danny Trejo, and Keith David, Big Tim himself. Yeah. Like this had a Hey That's Danny Trejo award to Danny Trejo in this. Felicia Day also has a fairly big part. Anyways, you want to talk about this one? May you talk about this one?
I can talk about it. Sure.
Talk about Tim Travers. You might have understood more of it than I did.
So Tim Travers, or as he's called at one point, Timothy Oliphant Travers.
Timothy Oliphant Travers.
And yes, he is a douchebag. He's this scientist in I don't even know when this is actually supposed to take place. I guess it's
2026.
2026. Okay, yeah, they did say that at some point. But he invents this time machine that can as he knows, take him back in time 1 minute, and he tries to play around with it where he thinks like, oh, I'm gonna go back a minute and then kill myself and then see what happens with that, and nothing happens, and it's kind of weird that nothing happens, and then he starts doing it a whole bunch of times, and then he really creates a big mess because there was like a whole bunch of him, and he's
30 of them, I think, is what
officially 30.
Unofficially 30. The filmmakers said.
At some point, he plays 30 versions of himself, and this is while getting it's sort of a narration at parts where he's like telling the story on a radio program to Joel McHale's character, and then the movie really opens up and is just bizarre. Like he has like this thing that he keeps going on dates with a girl that works at the radio station, and it is a wild movie. I really like the first third of it or so where he is playing around with the time paradox, because I really do enjoy time travel movies that are like that. But for me, when it actually really expands into like the wild, like kind of like the house that Jack built type, like last half an hour, I just was, I mean, it's not that it wasn't entertaining, it's just that it kind of lost itself. I feel like it is a crazy movie. It was fun to see Keith David, Big Tim, and and Danny Trejo does have
playing God. Keith David playing God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Among many other people playing God too.
This is true.
Danny Trejo was like the head of this group that he had stolen plutonium from to make his time machine, and he's sort of like him
along with the director.
Yeah, the director has a part doing the same thing. Like they're like trying to find him and kill him, but they keep killing clones and whatnot, or what they think are clones. It's an interesting movie. I don't know, Terry. What'd you think of this? Because I don't know. We haven't really talked about what we actually rated or anything.
Yeah. This movie, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. But it doesn't really matter that it doesn't make any sense, because it's just so goofy, and it knows it's goofy. It knows it's not taking itself seriously in any way. As I was watching it, I'm like, this movie, it's so dumb. And like the production value is super low. Like this is super low budget. Like it felt like B-rated porno budget. Like that's what it felt like. But at the same time, you have this interesting stuff going on. And I mean, Samuel Dunning, like, he's playing 30 different guys and actually pulls it off well. There are 30 different versions of the same character, but then as it goes along, they all kind of develop their own characteristics as they all start in the same place. And yeah, there's a lot of nuance to it. And they all wear name tags to tell which one's which apparently was a last minute ad, according to the filmmaker that we heard in the Q&A. They weren't going to do that. And then there's like, oh no, this is like a saving grace. And they even say that in there.
And they're like, yeah, it'll thank me later for this.
I was leaving, or when the movie ended, so you rated out of 5 stars because apparently no one else understands that 4 stars are all you need. So you rated out of 5 stars for the voting. As it was ending, I was gonna give it 2 stars, and I was probably like 2 on our scale, 2 stars, 2.5 stars, somewhere in there. And then just listening to the filmmakers talk for a little bit, I'm like, screw it, I'll give you a 3-star rating on this. At least on the ballot. I'll probably bump it up to like a 2.5. Because it is so dumb. But hearing them talk about it, like they were gonna make another movie and the funding got pulled from them, and then they decided to expand this short. And that was the other thing, is this had to be a killer short. Like that must have been awesome. And then I'm watching this movie, and
it probably takes place in one room or something.
Yeah. And I'm watching this movie, and I'm like, how are they gonna pull 2 hours out of this? Like, we got like a half hour in, and I'm like, I feel like the movie's about to end. and they were a half hour into a 2-hour movie. They were saying from like commitment of starting to write the script, or commitment of the actor to do the movie, to opening, writing the script and everything, was 60 days, and they filmed for 17 days.
Yeah, something like
that. It was something insane like that. I'm like, okay, you pulled this off and that. Okay, I'll bump you up a little bit. So I'm in the 2.5 star range. I gave them a 3-star rating on my ballot, though. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I did really like the main actor. Like I told Terry afterwards that he's discount Glenn Howerton. Again, he's doing a lot of Glenn Howerton. Like, if you take like all of the different like crazy characters that he plays on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, like, I mean, it's basically he's doing that 30 different times, and he does really good at it. I've never seen.
I felt there was before. A little bit of Nicholas Hoult in him too. A little bit of Nicholas Hoult.
I could watch that guy do some more stuff. I ended up giving the movie 2 stars on my ballot, and yeah, it's probably in the 2.5 star range. So we're kind of in the same place. But yeah, it is impressive how quickly they were able to shoot it and everything like that, because it doesn't look that terrible. Like, I mean, I do like low budget sci-fi movies, and there's a little bit of that, but I mean, all it really is like shining bright lights, and there are some really bad like green screen behind you kind of stuff that they have, but it works. I mean, the filmmaker is, I could see him getting a bigger budget and making a really killer movie. But yeah, this just seems like something he just wanted to get out of his head, and he even plays a pretty big part in it.
So going back to something we talked about on one of the more recent podcasts, would you rewatch it?
I mean, depends on the circumstances. If I really felt that it was someone's thing, and I would show it to him for sure. I don't know if I would actually seek this out to turn it back on.
That's fair. I'm right there with you. I would totally be like my wife. I could see like having a what the hell moment with this, and it would be really fun to show it to her to get that what the hell moment out of.
Yeah.
I'd rewatch this. I would rewatch it. And yeah, super Seattle movie, super Washington State movie. I don't know if you're gonna see this anywhere else. Tim Travers. It was Tim Travers and the Time Traveler's Paradox. What the hell is it again?
Time Traveler's Paradox.
Time Traveler's Paradox. Tim Travers. That's what you need to remember. Tim Travers. Okay, so that was the first movie we watched. It was nuts. It was bonkers.
We started out, in early afternoon, seeing a movie that probably plays better at, like, if we were watching it right now.
Watching it at 10:30 at night with a couple drinks in us, and then you turn on Tim Travers. Like, seriously, why wasn't this like a midnight showing there? Like, that would have been perfect. But no, it was the 1 o'clock matinee was this. But work on your programming. We should be programmers.
But I mean, it's probably because the filmmaker was there, and I don't know if you get them to come to your midnight shows.
True, but if he's a Seattle guy, that's the only reason Joel McHale was in it.